Welcome back once again, friends. We have been building the secret messages exercise, and we just saw how we can build a function to reverse a given string. That allowed us to create a kind of secret message. Now we are going to extend that a little bit, and instead of reversing the entire string, what we are going to do instead is that we will reverse every word of a given string. For example, notice this sentence again: meet me in the lobby at 6 p.m. Say we encoded this by reversing every word individually. So I will get something like team m ni et y ball ta whatever, right? And that's happening because notice here meet has become team, me has become m, ni has become in, sorry, in has become ni, and so on and so forth, right? That is different from reversing the entire string, right? So this is what we are going to see. This is going to create us another kind of secret message, but for this purpose we are going to have to do a little bit more, as you can imagine. So let's see the steps here. We are in fact going to do it in 3 steps. What we will do is that first we will extract the words from a given string. Now for this purpose we'll have to use a string method called split, because that simplifies the job a lot for us. It will give us all the words that are in the sentence. Next we are going to reverse each word, and we already have the function for that, the reverse function, which we can reverse a given string. So we are going to pass our each word into that string one by one, into that function one by one, so that it reverses it. And we are going to stitch together a new string. Basically what that means is that we are going to take the reversed word, add a space, take the next reverse word, add a space, so that it again starts looking like a sentence, but really it is a processed version of the original sentence where every word has been reversed. Now again, step 2 and step 3, because it's a repetition with some kind of increment, and we'll see that increment later, we will in fact do this using a for loop. Now I'm going to show you 2 implementations of this. First one is using the standard stuff that we have been doing. Second one will be more concise, but if it turns out confusing, then you can just go with the first one, right? You can come back to the second one a little bit later, right? So let's see how we can do this in code. So what I'm going to do is to come back here. My function here. I'm generating this function over here. Say I say Python is cool. Now I'm going to just define a new, let's say, uh, function here. Say new, say def reverse, say for example reverse word, right? And again my input is x, and I'm going to say, let's say, uh, start writing this function. So I don't need this documentation things. I will do this right now. I'm going to use this. So let me just write this: words equals to x dot split, and I'm going to just leave it like this, right? And for now we'll just leave it as it is, because before I run this function I want to show you what the split does. So notice my x is a string. If I, let's say, were to run this, say words equals to x dot split without anything, I'm going to get, and I say words, I'm getting a list which is telling me all the different words. Remember, there were 3 words in this, and I know that there were 3 words because there were 2 space characters, right? So basically this function, this method split this string and gave me the 3 words in a list. And I know this word is a list now because this is contained in square bracket. We look at list elsewhere in more detail, but the concept is exactly same as what we have seen, for example, in Scratch. Now this list is 3 words. We can index each of them exactly like Scratch, right? So for example, the item one of item 0 of words is Python, item 1 of words is, and item 2 of words is cool, because again indexing starts on 0, right? But we've got a list here. Now I just want to highlight one thing: if I do not give any input, I get these words. But I can also give, when I split this, I can also give it, say, a space bar, right? And if I did this, I'm going to get, again, if I look at words, I'm going to get the same list, because I this time told it explicitly to split it with a space bar. But by default the input is space bar, so I don't need to give that, right? However, at this point I do want to kind of show you something interesting. Let's say I chose to split my string on, let's say, t. So what's going to happen is that it's going to split this, if I now look at words, it's going to split this into 2 parts. The first part is pi, because before t was here, so pi is the first part, and horn c cool is the second part, right? So you can do more interesting things by splitting it across somewhere, but for me I just want to split across the words. That's why I could just use words as x dot split. Now remember again that anything inside function is local to the function, which means that once this whole thing is done, I will not be able to access words. And that's why I've shown you, like this. And this words is different from this words, because this word is kind of global right now, whereas this word will be inside the function. So it will be totally local. Anyway, let's move forward. We know that words is now a list. So, and this, I'm going to move to my second and third step, which is that I'm going to reverse each element of this and I'm going to stitch this all together. So for the purpose of stitching together, I'm going to define as before a list called S, keep it empty, because this is what I want to return later. And I'm going to set up a for loop, right? Now this for loop is kind of self-explanatory to some extent. So I'm going to say for kk in range, let's say, length of words. So basically I'm saying, okay, look, start from 0 and go till 0, 1, 2. So in this case, length of words is 3. So I'll go 0, 1, 2. Right, remember, because for loop is repetition with a variable which is getting incremented. So I'm going to say for kk in range length of words. And what do I want to do? I want to just say s equals to s plus reverse words kk. Right, now remember, indexing a list is very similar to indexing a string. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to say, look, first take the original string, add to that a reverse version of the word found in the index kk. So when kk is 0, it's going to take, for example, the string was Python is cool, so it's going to take the first word, which is word 0. Next, I'm going to take the second word, words 1. Third, I'm going to take the cool, which is words 2. And that's going to happen because kk is going to increment through this loop, and I'm going to say reverse each of these words. And additionally, I want to add a little space. I want to add a single space between each of these words created, right? And really that's all. I can end the for loop and I can then say return s. Right, now to see this happen, now remember, this return s will return back the execution to where I'm calling from. So let's say I have a variable x rev underscore word, and I have done, let's say, reverse word of say x. Now when I run this, if I run this here, obviously this code is run. Now I can look at x say rev word, and what I see is notip c loop. And why did this happen? This happened because I reversed Python, then I reversed is, and then I reversed cool. Right, now remember, I'm adding a space after every character, every such group, which is why I have ended up with an extra space here, but that doesn't really matter for me, right? So I managed to do what I was looking for by just reversing each word of this. Now before I wrap this up, I'm going to show you another implementation of this, which is a little bit more concise, but it could be a little bit more advanced as well, right? So if you are happy with this, that's fine. You can come back to the second implementation later, but let's just say I say, I'm just going to copy this thing over because it's going to be very similar. I'm going to say, let's say reverse word, and I'm going to say maybe concise, right? Concise means like more brief. So what I'm going to do, the first part remains exactly the same because I'm going to split the sentence into the individual words. I get a list called words. Then instead of bringing in another variable kk and indexing the list, in fact, I can run the for loop directly on the list. So I'm going to say for every word in words. Right, now notice here I'm running the for loop directly on that list, so it becomes more concise. And all I have to do then is that I can just say every word, right? And really what's happening is that previously over here I had a variable k which was being incremented. Over here I have a variable called every word which is being changed. Okay, remember the basic principle is for loop is a repetition along with the variable, right? So this was we have seen this many times, but here something different is going on. For loop is changing this every word, and it's basically giving it every element of this list, right? So if you want to be sure of this, you can in fact put a print say every word over here, right? And we'll see how this works. All I'm going to do is that I'm going to say reverse word, and here I'm going to make it, let's say, underscore concise, right? So if I did this, and if I run this thing, what happens is, notice I'm printing every word. So every word was iterating over the list. First word is Python, so it was Python, and it did a reverse Python, and added a space. Next word was is, it reversed is, added a space. Next word was cool, it reversed cool, added a space, right? So again, if I see x rev word, I'm going to see I get the same answer, which is notip C Luke. And this implementation is actually a little bit more elegant if you notice, because I'm not really indexing the list. I just find it, a little bit more intuitive to read. However, this usage of for is a little more advanced. Like I said, you can always come back to this later. For now, even the first version is fine. I hope this gave you an idea. I hope this gave you clarity on how this thing works. Enjoy this whole process. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.